everyone, I'm Tom and this is Shifter, a channel all about urban cycling and bike commuting. Welcome to all you new subscribers, and if you like this video, please consider subscribing. It does help a lot. And I spend a lot of time on this channel complaining really about North American cities and the lack of bike friendliness in those cities. But today I'm trying something a little bit different. Today I have a positive story. So back in 2018, I made a video about this street over here. Now this is a street I regularly use, or pass at least, on my bike commute every day. And it was due for a repaving, and the city was using the opportunity to make some improvements to it. But rather than putting in a proper, safe, separated bike lane, the city was planning on changing some really terrible sharrows into some slightly less terrible painted bike lanes. And this annoyed me for a number of reasons. Here are three of them. Number one was that the city said there was not enough room on the street for separated bike lanes and buses. But the thing was, it wasn't a bus route, so buses were never on that street, and there were no plans to add buses to that street. So they were saying it wasn't wide enough for some mythical bus that might never materialize. And this is a parallel street just a few blocks away, and it also has a nice bike lane. But the problem is, if you can see right up there, is it just ends. It's the bike lane to nowhere. And the third reason it annoyed me was a painted bike lane. Really? Come on. But something unusual happened before that bike lane was painted. The local community association got involved, they fought for it, and guess what? They won. And look at this now. Look at now, we have a proper separated, safe bike lane. An actual separated bike lane. It's amazing. I mean, seriously, look at this thing. It's smooth, it's cleared of snow in the winter, it's got concrete, there's a barrier. It's just beautiful. And to show my love for this bike lane, today I'm going to walk you through all the reasons I love it, because on a bigger level, it shows how something as simple as a safe bike lane can have such an impact on our lives. Reason number one that I love this bike lane is connections. So this is the start of the bike lane, and look at right here. It's adjacent to a bike path. This little connection right here means that you can connect from literally hundreds of kilometers of bike trails right onto this bike lane without having to fight cars. On the other end of this bike lane is another connection to the broader downtown cycle track network, so other separated bike lanes downtown, which means on both ends, it gets me to places I actually need to go without having to mix with car traffic. Reason number two. Look, I'm recording a video while riding a bike downtown. Now this is probably pretty stupid, but the fact that I feel safe enough to do this is because I'm in a safe separated bike lane. And safety isn't important for recording videos. It's important because this is what encourages non-athletic cyclists to ride. If you're not a super confident cyclist in traffic, you're not going to try to ride unless you feel safe in a bike lane like this. This is the best part of properly built bike lanes, is the way it encourages people of all types to use them. Here's reason number three. Medical offices, a school, condos where actual real live humans actually live, another school, a great restaurant over there, a bunch of great restaurants down there, an animal hospital, a funeral home, a library, and a nice urban park. The point of all this is that along this bike route, there are things you actually want to go do. There are places to stop. This bike lane wasn't tucked away in some back street or some back alley away from everything so that it wouldn't get in the way of car traffic. It was actually placed in an area full of things that I want to do. This is super important with a bike lane. Bike lanes are best when they're in the places where you want to go and do things. It's so easy to get on and off a bike and pop into businesses or libraries or anything else. It's different than a road, and they need to be thought of a bit differently as well. And this is just, for me, a commuter who mostly just passes through this area. How does a proper bike lane impact your life when you actually live in the neighborhood? Hey everybody, this is Jane. Hi Jane.
Hi.
Jane lives right off this bike lane.
Yeah, approximately.
And she was actually the person who suggested I do a video about this bike lane in the first place. So I thought it would be a good idea to have her on and get her perspective. But she didn't actually cooperate. She was happy to come and speak, but she didn't actually say what I thought she was going to say about this bike lane. You have a slightly different opinion.
Try not to be too cynical.
So instead of coming on here and embarrassing herself with praise about this bike lane like I did, she came on and gave me kind of a list of complaints about things she did not like about it. It's too narrow, she says. It's too busy.
Like now there's like traffic on the cycle tracks, and I was like, I liked it when it was quieter.
It's kind of inconsistently built throughout its length. There's this weird section where the concrete barrier ends so that there's a place where taxi drivers can pull over and wait for fares, which is bizarre and makes for what feels like a dangerous situation.
I don't know, it just looks like a death trap to me.
Eventually, I got her to agree that the bike lane is definitely an improvement over what was here before. Do you feel safer?
Yeah, you'd have to be a drunk person to run over a cyclist on this cycle track.
Right. But that doesn't mean it's a great bike lane. And now that I'm thinking about it, I really appreciate Jane's perspective. It got me thinking that maybe because I spent so much time fighting against the infrastructure just to get through my day on a bike, that whenever anything is thrown to us, and whenever the city throws us a bone and builds something to us, that maybe I go a little over the top and lose perspective on things, because there are some problems with this bike lane. It's not perfect. And I think that's the case in a lot of cities in North America. We're still not that great at building great bike infrastructure. So I appreciate what Jane had to say. Jane and I do agree on one thing, and that's that a well-built separated bike lane can make a big difference in our lives, and that we've still got a long way to go in most North American cities, including ours here today. And just one last note before I go, I wanted to send a big thank you out there to all of you who have subscribed. This channel recently hit 10,000 subscribers, which kind of blew my mind. My goal has always been from the beginning, not necessarily to be a big YouTube success. It's really just to get more people on bikes. So if a bigger audience can help do that, then I'm all for it. So thanks for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I couldn't do this without all of you. So thanks very much. See you next time.